What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Happy Monday. We're excited that you've joined us. Welcome to the Mindset Monday calls. Guys, if you're brand new here, I just want to let you know what the wave makers are, okay? If you're sitting tonight and you're someone committed to creating positive waves of change for yourself, your community, the environment, and the world, you are a wave maker. Welcome home. And tonight we're going to be speaking about some very, very valuable topics and concepts that we can take on today and just sprint towards a better life from now on, okay? That 1%, that 0.1% of improvement a day is what it's all about. So tonight we have three speakers. I'm gonna be one of the hosts and one of the people speaking, bringing you some content. But the first speaker that we have, the first host tonight is one of our dear brothers, Mr. Eric Brown, someone that I have a lot of respect for, a lot of love for. I met him a few years ago at a Tony Robbins convention, and that was just one of those relationships and friendships that as soon as we met and we started speaking, we knew that there was a higher purpose and reason for us meeting that moment. And we've just done some incredible things and being able to bless a lot of people and grow together. We've gone to trips from New Jersey to Florida to Colorado, Moab. We've been living life, and that's one of my very best friends. So super grateful to have you here, brother. I know that Eric's going to be going over some of the lessons that we've learned at the Tony Robbins event and is going to prep us up for the topic of tonight. So with that being said, Eric Brown, are you with us tonight, brother?
I am, brother. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You good to go?
Beautiful, beautiful. And like Nick said, guys, right now is a very sacred time. So grab a notebook, grab a pen, grab these things. What I'm going to do today is do a process with you that I put myself through at least a minimum of once a month. And it's a great way to assess and get clarity of, hey, where do we in our life need to be direction that we can go. And so I got a few questions with you guys before we start this process. Is when was the last time you did an assessment on the most important areas of your life and how you're doing in those areas? For most of us, it's rarely ever, right? And so we're going to do that here today. And so we're going to rank those out of 1 to 10. And so just trust me along this process. This is not something that I created or put together. This is something that Nick said Tony Robbins puts everyone through in the beginning of his 56-hour, 4-day immersion event. And so we're just going to be able to take just a few minutes to go through this here with you. And so question for you as well is drop a 1 in the chat as if it would be valuable to you to know one single area of your life, if you focused on it, would increase all the other areas of your life. Drop a 1 in the chat. Should see a bunch of 1s going here. Beautiful, beautiful. And so we're going to dive into that. And the cool thing is it's going to be a unique thing and different for everyone here. And so what we're going to go over is something called the pyramid of mastery, right? And so the first level of the pyramid of mastery, guys, is our physical body. So I want you to rate a 1 out of 10, a 10 being I love in my body and this is how we view it, how we feel, how we show up. Do we actually feel strong in ourselves? Our physical body, what are the things that we're feeding in it? How do we feel about the diet that we have, the supplements that we're taking, the water that we're drinking, the workout routine that we have? How do we feel when we look in the mirror, right? What is this 1 out of 10? How do we rate? And this is a great opportunity right now for you guys to be as honest with yourself as possible, okay? If you do not take this critically and honestly in this sacred time, the rest of this isn't going to be worth it at all, because you guys want to be able to be as honest and brutal with yourself as possible. It's a 1 out of 10. And so the second step of period of mastery is our emotions and meaning. This means the story that happens between our two ears. When a situation happens, do you react or do you respond, right? What is your emotions and meaning towards relationships, towards time, towards your physical body, towards your faith, towards money, towards life in general? What is your emotions and meaning, and how would you rate yourself 1 out of 10 in how well you're able to be still in times of chaos, right? So that's number 2. Number 3 is our relationships. On a 1 to 10, how valuable are the relationships in your life? Do you have great relationships with the people closest to you that you can have a vulnerable dialogue with, that brother or sister that you can call on? Maybe parents or your kids or something, maybe a significant other. What would you rank yourself in that department of your life? Are you showing up how you would like to? in those relationships, give yourself a 1 out of 10 in that area. The fourth area is time. Of time for yourself and on your own time management. Do you have a schedule? Do you create a calendar? Do you have your own power within your time? Or also, what is your vision of time in relativity of, do you feel you have that instant gratification of needing everything right now? Or do you see the bigger vision of everything else that is unfolding into your life? And so maybe that might change some numbers for you. I'm real honest. Level mission, right? There's 3 types of things that we can work on: our career, our mission, and our job. The people who have a job are usually people who are not most excited about something, and it's something that they just chose. A career is something that is more specialized to what that person is excited about. And someone who is mission driven, if you have a mission driven purpose, that means you're creating impact. These are the people who create and are actively out there sharing and blessing this message of whatever it may be to you. Which category do you fall in? Do you maybe need to make some shifts in your life to be more fulfilled in that department? What do you rank yourself 1 out of 10? The next level is finances. We've done our financial house on these calls before. What would you rank your wealth of how you view money, how well your actual physical situation is right now? Do you maybe need to create another income source, or maybe is your financial house not so strong in these different areas? Maybe you have some more debt and you need to work on there. Rank yourself 1 out of 10, okay? And then the last one is that contribution in spirituality. How is your faith right now? What is your ability to give back, whether it's as small as a compliment or is it giving money? How is your impact right now? How would you rate yourself 1 out of 10 in your connectedness to that department? And so with those areas right there, right, what we did with those is this is something that I'm constantly doing on a monthly basis, like I said, and something that we'll find fascinating is, what is the number in the area that you rated yourself the lowest in, right? Maybe drop it in the chat. Which one did you guys rate yourself the lowest in? Be honest with yourself, right? Maybe you have a few that are the same number that you rated yourself in there. And so being able to understand, hey, where in my pyramid of mastery, where am I where do I feel not so confident in? And for me, guys, mine was, I always ranked myself lowest in finances, in my emotions and meaning, right? And so what we're going to do here, a quick little exercise is, hey, if we focus, and this is going to lead you guys into what Nick and Mike have for you guys here coming on, is most often time is Nick's going to talk about focus, right? And so our focus, where focus goes, energy flows, right? And so if we're going to focus on one area, for me, if I had emotions and meaning, for me, I rated that a 3. I was really hard on myself with that in different like that. And however, I chose growing in the department of my emotions and my meaning, right? So if I focus in that area and I start to be, and I start to show up better in my relationships, my emotions and meaning, the story that I have for my physical body and how I'm going to show up in there, are my emotions and meaning is what's going on in between here. My relation. And so once I did that, my physical way I saw myself, the motivation to actually work out and to eat the right foods increased, right? My relationship with my parents and those around me increased. My time management, I valued myself so much more. So my time increased. So what you guys are going to notice is, if you find the one that is the lowest, most often time, if you just focus on that one single area, it levels up all the other areas in your life. And so for me, just focusing on what's happening in between here, the emotions and meaning, the stories that we tell ourselves, that also my second lowest one, finances, started to increase. More things started to happen in my business. I was able to invest more. I was able to do these things and create a strong financial house. My mindset on money started to shift. And then so that number went from a 3 to more of like a 7 and an 8. And my faith and contribution in that whole standpoint then grew. And so you can see what became such a wobbly structure then became such a solid structure in all high numbers. So what I want you guys to focus on here today is, what is that area for you? What is that low area, right? What is that area that maybe if it gave some TLC that would level up in all these other areas? And sometimes it's not the lowest number. Sometimes it's the second lowest number or the third lowest number. You assess what it is specifically for you, and make those changes, make that focus and write it on your wall or something where you're constantly programming that unconscious mind for where you're able to go, and be able to assess these different situations so that you can continue growing on this path. And so with that, I felt I was super excited that Nick and Mike reached out and were like, yo, do you want to share some value? And I was absolutely. This was in a back of my mind. That was something that I do, and I thought was a great tee up for what you guys are going to share with us here tonight. So I hope you guys took some value from that, and I can't wait for Nick to drop some value for you guys. I saw some of his slides already, and it's absolute gold. And so would love to hear some of it, Nick.
Eric, thank you so much, brother. This was fantastic. I love that you kind of share it as a the wheel of life, right? Because there are so many areas that we have in our lives, but many times we focus on one or the other, and we neglect others that are also very important. So I love that. I took some great notes, and I will be putting some more thought into this and finding ways to improve. And mine, I believe that was also the emotions and meaning, and I can see how that affects everything else. So that's very valuable, Eric. Thank you so much, brother. I'm going to jump in, guys. I do have a little slide for everyone. Okay. Can you guys see this? Give me a thumbs up if you can see it. Okay, fantastic. We're going to be moving quickly, okay? I hope that you guys are really here with us. And I just want to say, before I go into this, I'm speaking to you just as much as I'm speaking to me right now, okay? Let's see one thing here. All right, fantastic. So the question is, are you worrying about the wrong things in life? And the reason that I wanted to start with this is because, I notice it's easier to notice in other people's lives, right? But many times we are worrying and focusing on the wrong things in life. And it's just, it's not giving us what we need in order to achieve the life of our dreams, okay? So here's the first question. Where's your focus, right? Because we have 60 to 80,000 thoughts per day. 60 to 80,000 thoughts per day. What we're doing with those thoughts is determining the type of life that we have. Like Eric said, it's all in here. So that's what we're going to dive in a little bit today. So what are you focusing on? Are you focusing on the news? Okay. The television programming. Okay. They're lying to you. And I just want to say this, this is not the reason that I don't want to go too deep in this conversation, but if you are watching the news, if you're watching TV and that's part of your habit, you are done. Forget about achieving the life of your dreams. It's just not going to happen because they're pouring garbage in your brain. All right. So turn that thing off. It is not adding anything into your life. Okay. Are you focused on a new Netflix series that's coming out? Maybe that's your area of focus, or maybe the new song that just hit the billboards, or maybe it's what your old school high school buddy that got a new girlfriend and what he's posting on social media right now. I mean, these things are silly, but really stop and think for a second. What are you spending your 24 hours thinking about? Most people are not grabbing their thoughts captive, right? Because 95% of our lives are actually subconsciously driven. So that means that only 5% of what you are thinking about in your 24 hours or 16 hours that you're actually awake, only 5% of that is actually conscious. How insane is that? So we really have to make sure that 5%, right, that we're actually conscious, that is a focused 5% in accordance to your dreams and goals in life. So maybe you're focused on what someone said to you last week and how mean they were to you, or how that made you feel. And now you're pondering and just feeling the hurt and the pain that's bringing in your life. You're worrying about the past. Maybe what Trump is posting on Twitter, right? And that's really funny because, the man is all over the place. And I pray that he's making the right choices for this country. But at the same time, what are we doing about it? What are we doing to make sure that we are in a good place ourselves, regardless of what's going on in the country? That's what really matters, right? Maybe you're focused on what the neighbor's tree that is leaning over your fence. I mean, this is so silly. I know you guys are like, who's thinking this? But guys, pay attention to maybe your life or your family's life and what they're speaking about. What are people in your circle talking about? That will determine what they're focusing on, because what they think about will come out of their lips. Okay. Maybe, and I know you guys are going to feel me on this one, that $29.99 membership that you forgot to cancel and you're so mad about. I mean, this happened to me the other day, right? And Haley can attest to this. You know, I was worried about it was a $99 fee. And oh man, I'm like for 2 days worrying about this $99 when in reality, I could have spent all that time and energy focusing on producing more income. It's insane. It's wild. And that is the lesser version of ourselves that loves to worry about the wrong things that don't matter. Okay. Maybe you're thinking about how you would have handled a situation better in your past, AKA it's gone forever, AKA you can't do a thing about it, but we're still thinking about it. Why do we do that as humans? And it's insane. It's because we're not aware of it. And that's my goal here, by the way, is to bring awareness. That we're not taking every single thought captive, and that is the goal, so that we can control our lives. Maybe the last one, maybe you're thinking and wishing that you could go back to an easier life, you know, with everything that's going on the planet. Guess what? It's not going to get easier. Get used to it. It's going to be different. It won't be the same. It's time that we adapt. Okay. And that goes back to what Eric was saying about, you know, the meaning that we give to things. What is the meaning that you're giving to the situation that's going on right now in the world or in your life or in your family's life? What is the meaning? Because that is going to be your reality. Okay. So moving on. Here's what people spend a lot of time worrying and focusing on in their lives. Things that they have very little control over. Can you guys relate on that? That we, us a lot of times, let's not talk about other people. Do we focus and spend a lot of time worrying and focusing on things that we have very little control over? If that's you, if you can relate with me, drop a 3 in the chat. Drop a 3. Okay. If that's you, if you can relate with me, we're worrying about the wrong things. Okay. So here's something else that people spend a lot of time worrying about, things that other people are doing. Man, the whole gossiping, I can't stand that anymore in my life. I cannot hang around and talk to people that are just talking about others. I mean, I literally shut my ears off. I know it doesn't benefit anyone, and it is a waste of time. Maybe, you know, or also people spend a lot of time worrying and focusing on things that they wish they had. And the reason that I wanted to underline wish is because focusing on things that we want is a good thing whenever they become goals in our lives, but not wishing. See, wishing is just hoping. It's crossing your fingers. Okay. That doesn't lead to actually achieving the things that you want. It requires goals. Okay. So we're going to go on, moving on for time's sake here. People spend a lot of time worrying and focusing on things that may never happen. I know that for myself, I had this habit of thinking of imagining and creating all these scenarios in my brain over things in my future that I didn't want to happen. And then I started to realize, man, what am I doing? I'm not living in the present moment, and I'm worrying about all these things that may never come about. And most of them never do, by the way, right? They never do. Things that simply don't matter. Okay. That's the overview of all of this. We spend a lot of time thinking about things that don't matter. And it's important for us to be aware of that. Otherwise, we can't change it, okay? And so in turn, people waste their gifts, their potentials, and the opportunity to achieve the life of their dreams, okay? And this is going to be the last thing that I'm going to share with you guys. If you're taking notes, write this one down. This is huge. Success can be as frightening as failure. Can you guys believe that? How insane is that? That success can be as frightening as failure. Maybe your first reaction is, "What do you mean? That doesn't make any sense. You know, of success. What do you mean? I want success. I want success." Yes, we want success, but deep inside, people fear success. I realized this not so long ago, and it just blew my mind. And then I started noticing in my life, what are the areas that I'm afraid to succeed on? Okay. And this is how we know, okay, this is how you know that you are afraid of success, that you are frightened of success. You have something called the excusitis, okay? When you focus on things that you should focus on, if you are feeling the excusitis disease, which is someone suffering from the sickness of a mental disease of making excuses every time they face anything that forces them to grow in life, you are afraid of success. I'm going to say this one more time. if whenever you're focusing on the things that you want to achieve in your life, you're actually grabbing a hold of your thoughts, and now you're focusing on the things that really matter, right? If you begin to show signs of excusitis, which is when you are suffering from the sickness of a mental disease of making excuses every time that you face something that forces you to grow in life. If you're making excuses, oh, well, I would, but see, I really want to make that happen. However, or, time, I just don't have the time right now for this. I just have other things that I'm thinking about. And, right now my schedule is just booked up and I can't get this done. That's why we got to get rid of this mental disease, this mental illness, if we really wish to accomplish success. Procrastination is just a sign of the excusitis disease. Okay, so pay attention. I encourage you after this call, and I'm almost done here. I encourage you to really stop and think, what are the areas that you are making excuses for your goals, for your dreams, for the things that could actually move you forward in life, and instead you're worrying about the $29.99 that you lost, instead of focusing on how you could actually improve yourself and go and crush your goals. Okay, so here are some of the things that we could focus on instead. If you found yourself, if this hit you a little bit, and I hope it did, okay, here are some things that we could be doing instead. Reviewing and improving your schedule and focusing on results. Reviewing and improving your schedule and focusing on producing results. It's not about just doing the action. It's about, are you actually coming out with something at the end, or are you just going through the motions of life, okay? Going over or writing down your goals and then sticking to them. Not making excuses, not falling back to that trap, right? Feeling grateful for all the current blessings in your life and those to come. That's one great thing that we could focus on. This right here is a major one that can really set us up for major success, is feeling grateful for all the blessings right now, right? Another thing, masterminding with other powerful individuals that challenge you to grow, which is why we're all here. So I hope that you're feeling that love through challenge, right? Great friends don't just support you, they challenge you to improve. Another thing, actively working on removing your bad habits by instilling new ones, going over books and training so that you can improve or build new skill sets in your life, and appreciating the moments that you get to spend with your loved ones. This one is huge, as Eric was mentioning, the relationships in our lives and being present and not worrying about the past, just the past or the future, but being present in the moment. And then the last thing, acting now and not overthinking your way through life. That leads to excusitis, by the way, overthinking. I know you guys can feel me on that one. Here's the last quote, and then I'm done if you want to write this down. The mind is a powerful force. It can enslave us or empower us. It can plunge us into the depths of misery or take us to the heights of ecstasy. Learn to use the power wisely. And that power is in your hands. The choice is yours, whether you will create or whether you will come up with excuses. You are the X factor, and I hope that you guys took value from this call. I'm fired up. I'm excited because I'm listening to the things that I'm saying as well. And this sounds true in my mind. So I'm super excited to hone in even more, make that 2mm shift in my life. Hope you guys are excited to do the same. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. Michael Bitonti, I know that I went over the time a little bit, man. And this is with love. I'm just on fire, brother. So I'm going to pass it on to you, to my right-hand man that's been next to me for 7-8 years of my life and have seen the growth in my life. And I've also noticed the growth in his life. And I'm super proud of you, man. Passing the mic to you, my brother, so you can finish the call for us.
I appreciate it. Wow. Yo, show some love for these two. There was so much value in everything that they said. It's usually me that's like the hype man. And I just feel, super humbled to be rocking with these two. There's so much value. I think the beautiful thing is that we have 3 completely separate entrepreneurs who have been on this grind, and we're all pulling from our different success principles and then just trying to relay the information, right? One thing that first thing on my mind was like, I got to figure out how to leave breadcrumbs. I got to figure out how to leave a little bit so that other people can follow. So I'm going to rock for 10 minutes. Hopefully one person grabs value. If one person grabs value from me, I did my job. So let me ask you a question. What are your priorities, right? I pull from multimillionaires. Those are the people. Here's my thing. I'll let you a little bit into my life. I want to be a billionaire so that I can change the world. I have no interest in Lamborghinis. I have no interest in big houses. I have no interest in multiple houses. I want to be a billionaire so I can solve the world's water problems. I can start working on feeding the homeless. I can start working on affordable housing. I want to start working on different advancements in technology, like billions of dollars in order to do these things, right? So I look at the people who have what I want. Here's one thing that I notice. If you take a look at Warren Buffett, he's got his priorities. And this is one thing that he says specifically is the reason why the majority of people don't even take steps towards accomplishing things is because they write out their list of priorities and they focus on all 20 of them at the same time. They're given 80, 70, 60% of their energy and their focus to like 15 different things at the same time, right? Because we're running out of time. Or like you build your priority list of 25 and don't get it wrong. Like he tells you to do that. What are the 25 most important things in your life that you want to accomplish with your time? Write that down. What are the 25 things that Sammy Corgi wants to accomplish with his life in however long that opportunity is? Maybe it's 30 years, maybe it's 50 years, maybe it's 80 years. What are the 25 things that Sammy wants to accomplish, right? And then Warren Buffett says, highlight the top 5 and forget about everything else until those 5 things are accomplished. 5 things at a time. He says, instead of giving 80% of your attention to 25 things for a lifetime and becoming a jack of all trades and a master of none, he says, dial in. Spend 5 years on 5 things and see them through. And so that's my challenge to you is get laser focused, right? While we're talking about distractions, while we're talking about dialing it in, it's bigger than just turning off the news. It's bigger than getting off these, excuse-itis garbage mindset. And those are so important. But once you get yourself to this place of like, okay, what am I going to focus on? My question to you is how thin did you spread yourself in that conversation? I can't tell you how many times Nick has turned to me and be like, yo, bro, so what are you working on today? And I'm like, brrr. There's like 12 different things that have nothing to do with each other. And he just sits back and laughs and he says, good luck. He said, good luck, bro. I'll see you tomorrow. Right? And so that's the challenge is not only getting rid of the distractions, but getting focused. And not only getting focused, but condensed focus, right? Shorten your sandbox and focus on quality of your sandbox. One of the real reasons why I like small spaces is because I can to a T control my small space. When I go back to like my parents' house and there's a 3-car garage and there's like 7 bedrooms, there's so much stuff. You lose track of how much stuff you have because there's so much space. The same thing happens with your schedule, with your focus, with your priorities. If you have too many focuses, if you have too many priorities, you will lose track. Things will slip through the cracks. So dial in, right? And I'm going to help you. This comes from my uncle, multi-millionaire. I learned from people who have what I want. He told me, Michael, what's your goal? I said, I want to be a billionaire. He said, you know how I know you'll never be a billionaire? He said, because you want to make $1 billion before you make 100 million. He said, you want to make $100 million before you make $1 million. You want to make $1 million before you make 6 figures. You want to make 6 figures before you're debt free. Right? And this is what the success realize is it comes in stages. So here's what he trained me to do. What does the end goal look like? What does the end goal look like? And then you need to build yourself milestones, what we call deliverables, to keep yourself on track, right? And here's the biggest thing about the wealthy. Let's take it to a financial status. I know some of you are going to grab this. Here's where so many people go wrong is they make 6 figures and they build a 7-figure lifestyle on 6 figures. and then they make 7 figures and they build an 8-figure lifestyle on 7 figures. And what happens is if anything goes wrong in that lifestyle or you lose that stream of income, the whole thing comes crashing down and you have to start from zero again. What my uncle does is he lives his lifestyle off of this. He could lose everything and he still has a foundation of 6-figure lifestyle or 5-figure lifestyle, whatever your situation is. And you solidify that step and then you build up, but not until it's solidified, right? It's like some of you are trying to build your skyscraper on unstable ground, right? As the Bible will tell you, you are building your house on sand and not on rock, not on the rock of the church, right? And so my call to you, what are your priorities? How thin are you stretched right now? And are you focused on foundation, solidification before we move up? How many corners are you cutting? How many steps are you skipping because of the excuse-itis, because of the distraction? I got to keep up with Matt Rosa. I got to keep up with this guy. I got to keep up with that guy. And so you're cutting corners, right? It doesn't work like that. There's a reason why the average entrepreneur, it takes 9 years for their business to show their face of if it's going to be successful and if it's going to have longevity, right? What makes you think that you are the anomaly? And I'm not taking anything away from your greatness. I'm just saying from the law of average, what makes you think that you're the anomaly that gets to skip the 9 years of hustle and become that overnight success? I would rather bank on me putting in the right activity for 9 years and that being what develops my business than banking on being the overnight success. I would rather build my foundation on supporting off of this income and surrounding income to support this pillar before I start racking up all these debts. That's what happens to so many millionaires, so many NFL players, NBA players. They get a lump sum, they get cash flow, and they think it's forever, and they just start blowing money. They don't build their financial house in a stable manner. If it's not long-term, I'm not interested. So in terms of my long-term goals, milestones, that's what's sustainable. Give yourself accomplishments to reach instead of like, yeah, I'm trying to be a billionaire. Ready, set, go. Right? Or I'm trying to get out of debt, but you have no plan. You're not strategically attacking the lowest bill. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a method to the madness. And so what I'm asking you to do is don't think that you're average, because the fact that you're on this call means that you are above average, right? Don't think that you're average, but also don't think that you are the anomaly, right? Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. And the numbers are saying that this shit takes time. And the numbers are saying that there's a process. And the number build from the ground up. You don't start building the building at the top. You start at the bottom. You solidify the foundation and you work your way up. So recap, write down your priorities, top 25 things that Chris, that Roy, that Anthony, that Valeria, that Gabriella, that Alonzo, that Tom, that Carla, that Nick, that Katie, that Eric, that Remy, that Madison, that Carolina, JC. What are the 25 things that you want to accomplish with your life? Write those down. And those are going to be changing. That's a living, breathing document. I'm constantly changing the things that I'm after as God presents himself to me, as I spiritually develop, right? It's always changing. What are the 25 things? Highlight the top 5 that mean the most to you. And focus, right? Do not be a jack of all trades and a master of none. I have lived my whole life like that. It's not enjoyable, right? Warren Buffett, he's telling you the numbers. It's like he says that like 95% of people do it the other way around. And 95% of people don't even come close to achieving what they set out to achieve, right? And then that process, what does the end goal look like? What does the finish line look like? It's going to look different for everybody. And then work your way back. Some people do it in 5-year increments. Some people do it in 3-year increments. Some people do it in year milestones, 6 months milestones, monthly milestones, whatever that means to you. But if you don't give yourself deliverables, right, you're the student without a syllabus. Like, what do I do? Where do I start? What's the assignment? Right? Can somebody help me? You're that flailing around, help me, because you don't have a plan. If I can teach you anything, if you will learn anything from me, life, 80% of it is on the outline. 80% of success is found in the outline of your life's paper, of your life's book that you're writing daily. What does it look like? Does it flow? Are there chapters? Right? So that's what I'm going to leave you guys with. Look at the end result. Look at where you want to be. Build those sections so that you're not just constantly living in a place of, I'm not where I want to be, right? Instead, you're constantly have attainable deliveries. You have attainable deliverables that are taking you to where you want to be. Every month, I'm smacking those goals that are leading to the bigger goal, the bigger mission, the bigger purpose. So that's what I got. Nikki T, thanks for having me. Pass it back to you, bud.
Powerful, bro. Powerful. I love that. And I love it because we have a lot of, I know we have another week to the next Monday call, but there's a lot of things that we can be doing individually, and I encourage everyone to take, whatever notes you took, go and actually invest at least 30 minutes into all of this, and go and do something with it. We're not here. Obviously, we get fired up, we get excited, but we're not here just to motivate you. We're here to inspire you. And that's something that happens within so that you can go and do something with it, right? That's the goal. So we're super grateful that you've joined us. We're going to see you, for those of you watching the recording. If you're not yet on our live calls and you want to be part of it, join us in our Telegram group. We'll have one of us who is going to drop it here in the Zoom call and also in the YouTube description. And I hope you guys have a wonderful week. God bless you all.